Hello and welcome to another video on chess openings with me, Slag, as we go over all the main openings that you'll see when playing chess. This week we're going over the Ruy Lopez, and specifically it's the Anderssen variation in the Morphy defense. Now this is a pretty common opening that you'll see when playing the Ruy Lopez, so it's best to know the main variations that you'll see when playing the Anderssen defense. When playing the Anderssen defense, there are two main variations that we're going to go over today. The first being the Duras variation, and the second variation starting with black going d6 on the 5th move, with white moving to c3 on the 6th move, followed by black's move at g6. So without further ado, let's just jump into it. So for those of you that don't know the Ruy Lopez, the way to get into it is going e4, e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, and then we push up here, bishop to b5, attacking the knight. This is how you set up every Ruy Lopez opening, and from what happens from here decides on the variation that you do. Now to get into the Anderssen variation, what you'll want to do is then black will push up to a6, threatening the bishop. You just pull back over here to a4. Black will then kick out the knight over here to f6, developing further and attacking this pawn. What we want to do is white, especially in the Duras variation, this variation that we're going over, is we push up to d3, protecting this pawn from this knight attack. From there, black will push up over here to d6, fortifying its pawn from our own pawn attack if the bishop were to take with the knight here. We then push up to c4, attacking and controlling this d5 square and allowing for the development of the knight here on b3 to further push up here later on. Black then pushes up to g6, looking to fianchetto a bishop here. We then develop our knight on c3 like we said we would. They develop the fianchettoing of the bishop. And then we kick up to h3, preventing knight to g4. Black then castles. We go to b3, opening up the two diagonals here. And they move to knight to d7. So what black is looking to do is try to exploit the weakness here on the d4 square. And so at this point, there is no real advantage on either side. It's a pretty even game. This is the Duras variation. It's probably the most mainline when playing the Anderssen variation. The second variation we'll be going over is on the 5th move. After moving back, developing the knight, we go to d3. Black goes to d6. We then go to c3 instead of to c4 here. And this can serve as preparation for white moving up their pawn over here to d4 to attack the center. b4 also prevents the knight move here, so the knight can no longer move there. But it also gives the bishop a nice little escape square later. If black were to push up over here to b4, attacking the bishop, we can just hide back over here on c2. From this point forward, black tries to fianchetto the bishop. We castle to get out of the way. They fianchetto. We move up the knight to reinforce this knight. And after black castles, we go rook to e1 to defend this knight and start an attack of our own. Now there's one thing to know about the Anderssen variation in the Morphy defense, and it's not to take this pawn too early. The reason being is after the bishop takes and they develop that knight, and we push up to d3 in the Anderssen variation, if they kick out the bishop here instead of bringing the pawn up here, it might be tempting to just take this knight here, open up the d file, and then we take the pawn. But this is a bad move because what can happen is the queen then moves here to d4, threatening checkmate, and because of that, you can't move your knight and the knight's lost. So that's it for the Anderssen variation. If you like that video, please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I also stream at Twitch at twitch.tv/ZachSlagowski, where I play all of these opening variations every single stream, so I can learn how these variations work and what is the best lines to take for a beginner like myself and a beginner like you. Next up, we're going to continue with the Morphy defense, but this time it's going to be the open variation, and there are so many different lines that we can play with the Morphy defense. That video will be right here, and until then, have a great day, and I'll see you then. Bye.